too many things better than the NBA Finals. There you see it, the view, the overview of the Oracle in Oakland, California, side of Game 3 of the NBA Finals from the Oracle in Oakland, California. Of course, you see people with their Steph Curry jerseys walking into the arena. You see Steph Curry walking into the arena himself. Doesn't look like he's ready to play golf. Look like he's just in cruise control. He's going to have a tough night, no question about it, potentially without Klay Thompson. Of course, there's the one and only Kawhi Leonard, one of the top 3 players on the planet right now, coming into the arena, tied 1-1 in this series. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to beautiful Oakland, California. We're at the Oracle for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The Toronto Raptors being hosted by the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, a lot of stuff to get into. I'm yours truly, Stephen A. Smith, hosting the Sports Center Special. Looking forward to having the guest that I'm going to have on today's show, Mark Spears, Brian Winters, Commissioner Adam Silver, of course, owner Joe Lacob, the one and only Mike Wilbon. I got a cast of characters, a crew, ready to talk about the NBA Finals. Make no mistake about it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. First things first, though, got a few things to get into. One of the things is my state of mind right now because, as Adrian Wojnarowski reported for us on Twitter as well as on ESPN, Klay Thompson has been lobbying the Golden State Warriors to play. They have advised him to sit out for Game 3 tonight. He wants to play. Here's my thinking. Sit him out. You know why? Because it's 1-1. You don't want him to get injured and then all of a sudden, or re-injured, and all of a sudden not be available to play for Game 4 or the rest of the series. The bottom line is, even being down 2-1, the Golden State Warriors are a lethal arsenal when healthy. Even without Kevin Durant, they're still lethal. They can still beat the Toronto Raptors as far as I'm concerned. If Klay Thompson, if Boogie Cousins, if Andre Iguodala is ready to join Draymond Green along with Steph Curry to handle their business. But I think the key to Game 3 tonight is going to be Draymond Green. Of course, Boogie Cousins will be in there, going from 8 minutes to 28 minutes from Games 1 and 2, and that was pivotal. But Draymond Green is going to be the key here. You can expect them to key on Steph Curry as they did in Game 2 when they threw a boxing one on him in the last 5 minutes. They're going to dare somebody else for the Golden State Warriors to shoot. Nobody would be stupid enough to do that with Klay Thompson, but you would take that risk with Draymond Green being your secondary or third offensive option, with Boogie Cousins being the second or third offensive option. The bottom line is Draymond Green's got to show up from the perimeter. He's shown up in every other way. He's my MVP for the NBA Finals thus far for the Golden State Warriors, the way he has played in Games 1 and 2. But having said all of that, the one impediment to his success, the one impediment to his game has been his perimeter shooting. Can he hit perimeter shots? Because you know that the Toronto Raptors are going to stand there and dare him to hit perimeter shots. And if he can't do that, that's going to put more of a load on Boogie, more of a load on Steph Curry, and I'm just not sure they're going to be able to handle that in Game 3 of this NBA Finals. That's Stephen A.'s state of mind coming into Game 3 tonight. We'll see how things unfold. But before I do anything else right now, I'm going to talk to my man Brian Winters in just a second. But first order of business is to get to Marcus Spears for the Undisputed right here with Stephen A. Or the Undefeated right here with Stephen A. What's going on, Marcus? How are you, sir? Talk to me about your thoughts about tonight's game. What are you thinking?
Well, I just got a call back from Michael Thompson, and he says, is he playing? I'm like, tell me, is he playing? He's talking about his son, of course, Klay Thompson. We're waiting for him to run out here to see what he could do. Steve Kerr talking about 10 minutes. But Michael Thompson said, hey, I talked to my son last night. He sounded like he's ready to play. He wants to play. He expects to play. Now, what Klay wants and what the Warriors staff wants is two different things. When Klay comes out here, if he does come out here, I expect to see several doctors watching his every move. If it's up to Klay, he's going to play. But as you said, it may not be in the best interest of the team that he does.
Mark Spears, when you think about Draymond Green and the role that he has to play in Game 3 tonight, have you talked to him about it? What has he told you about the role he thinks he needs to play in light of the possibility of Klay Thompson being out?
Draymond just wants to do whatever it takes to win. He's always been like that. If you look at his numbers, he doesn't care about scoring. He doesn't even look at the rim a lot of times. So if it means defense, if it's playing point forward, if it means whatever, he'll sell popcorn at Oracle, he seems like he'll do whatever it takes to get this team to win. And he's also stepped up his leadership. And surprising to me, he ain't really saying nothing to the refs. When's the last time he got a technical? He's really reined it in and focused on trying to get these guys a championship. And he also told me he's focused on getting Stephen Curry as MVP as well.
real quickly, Steph Curry made a tremendous gesture coming into tonight's game. Can you tell us what that is and why, real quickly?
He has these shoes that say Oakland on the side of it, 10 for 10 seasons in the back. He's written 30 letters to people that have meant something to him over these 10 seasons in Oakland, and they're all getting these shoes. And a memento, handwritten letter from him telling them how much he loves them and how much they've meant to him over these 10 years in Oakland.
Mark Spears for the Undefeated. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for being on the show. All right. Look at Boogie Cousins arriving. He clearly looks mission-minded, Brian Winters. He clearly looks ready to play. He's walking into the arena. He's walking better than I've seen him walking in a few weeks, and obviously we saw what he did in game 2. Brian Winters is standing right next to me right now. Coming into tonight's game, what's your priority? What are you focused on more than anything?
Boogie better be ready to play, Stephen A. It's the biggest game of Boogie Cousins' career tonight. This is the most uncertainty I've had for a finals game. This is my 10th finals. I don't ever remember being uncertain like this. What are we going to have in this game? Who's going to play? Who's going to play big? What are the game plans going to be? Especially deep into a series. It's a huge game for Boogie. It's a huge game for Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol, former Defensive Player of the Year, got bullied around in game 2. Wasn't ready for Boogie. That was a major factor there. The ball's going to find him. One of the reasons why it was so great for the Warriors to get Boogie Cousins was for a moment just like this. Even though we never saw this coming, this is it. Right there is a big matchup right now. Gasol on Boogie is big tonight. And as you mentioned, Draymond Green. The ball's going to find Draymond Green too.
We've heard what Wojnarowski reported on Twitter and the ESPN, obviously, about Klay Thompson. What are you hearing exactly about what Klay Thompson is telling the Golden State Warriors, and what do you think they should do with him based on the information you have?
So the Warriors have 2 game plans because they have to realize that Klay could come out here, feel good enough, and impress the trainers enough, convince them that he can play. So there was 1 game plan with Klay playing and 1 game plan with Klay not playing, which probably, Stephen A., is going to mean the biggest game for Alfonso McKinnie. That's where we are in this historic situation. Alfonso McKinnie likely to move into the starting lineup. That's 1 game plan, that's the other. Raptors, same situation. They have 2 game plans. One is going to be to clamp down on Steph Curry. Maybe not the box and 1, but certainly you would think double teams if Klay doesn't play. If Klay is a late add, you will see them right from the start run Klay and run Klay and run Klay to try to test him out to see and find weaknesses. Both coaching staffs have prepared multiple opportunities for tonight.
We know what to expect from Kawhi Leonard, injured or not. We know what to expect from him. Who are they looking towards to step up and handle their business to help him out on the road at the Oracle for Game 3 tonight?
Well, Kyle Lowry has got to play better. I'm not saying that he was a dog, but he has got to play better. 30% shooting the first 2 games, foul trouble in Game 2. Again, this is a huge moment for them. They came in here the last time they were here. Kawhi Leonard was out, and they delivered a big victory on this court. They have good memories of that. Kyle Lowry played great in that game. They are going to have to recall that. Kyle's going to have to play one of his biggest games tonight. If Klay does not play, Stephen A., I don't want to pound this too much, but this will be the most must-win game in the history of the Raptors franchise. They have to do it. That means a great game from Kawhi. That means a great game from Kyle Lowry. That means a great game from Marc Gasol. And don't forget, we could see OG Anunoby come back tonight in his first game of the playoffs.
Is that your way of saying that if the Raptors lose Game 3 tonight, there is no reason on earth to believe they're going to win this series?
If they can't win tonight's game without Klay Thompson, I don't think you can be a champion. So that's what I want to see. If you want to win the championship for the Raptors and Klay is down tonight, you've got to win this game.
You feel that way. I feel that way. Knowing the Raptors, they probably feel that way. Is that what the Golden State Warriors are telling you? If they take this game, we know we've got them?
That's the one thing about the Warriors. I remember that game in Houston when they lost Durant and they were going on Houston, and Houston thought they were going to have it. Now, granted, they still had Klay and they had Draymond playing really well. They were happy and excited. They love challenges. And Stephen A., that's not a must-win game for them. They're okay with falling down 2-1. They know they can win on the road. They know that they can beat this team multiple times in a row. For them, if Klay doesn't play, it kind of removes the pressure. Just go be free. Go be free, Jonas Jerebko. Go be free, Jordan Bell, whoever they got to play those minutes.
Right.
I think it maybe could lighten the load on them.
Wow. Brian Winters, appreciate it as
Thank you,
always.
Stephen.
Great job on your report. Much more to come on this special hour-long edition of Sports Center. After the break, we're talking NBA Finals with the commissioner himself, Adam Silver. Oh, look at Andre Iguodala walking up in there. I would like to say, got on a nice T-shirt. You know, I critique wardrobes, Wendy. I critique wardrobe. Short sleeve shirt. It is Southern California. The weather's nice outside. I'm not going to knock him for that. But if it's the NBA Finals, I would have liked to see a suit. Me courtside here. First of all, that's the championship. This championship trophy right there. No question about it. Behind me is Kawhi Leonard warming up for this game. The difference in game 2 was the Warriors 20-01, which included an 18-0 spurt to begin the second half. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, it was the longest run in an NBA Finals games since the NBA-ABA merger prior to the 1976-1977 season. My next guest is a man who knows his NBA history. He is the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. Mr. Adam Silver, how are you, sir? How's everything?
Great, Stephen A. Thanks for having me.
How are you enjoying these finals thus far? You have a team from Canada in the NBA Finals. Put that in perspective of what it means to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm thrilled, and I think symbolically, in terms of this league being global, the fact that the finals are outside of the United States for the first time means a lot to this league, and I think it's representative of the fact that we have a league now that's made up of players, that 25% of the players from outside the United States.
Right.
I think it's special being here, frankly. I mean, you and I were just talking about it. The last finals that will ever be in this building, obviously, as the team moves on to San Francisco. So this feels special. It's a special environment. You know, we have media from around the world here. These games are being telecast in 215 countries. So it's really a global event. You can feel the big stage environment here.
Considering the global iconic brand that the NBA is and has become a long time ago, as far as I'm concerned, what does having a team from Canada in the NBA Finals do to add to that? It's so big, it almost seems like there's not much that can be added to it because the NBA is so great globally.
Well, I mean, of course, we could end up going to other countries besides the United States and Canada. I think it demonstrates, I mean, you and I were actively involved in the NBA when we expanded to Canada, and look back to 1995 when we expanded to think that now we have 13 players in the league from Canada. The fact that 1 out of 3 Canadians have watched part of the finals so far. Think about that. 1 out of 3 people in the country. The fact that on a grassroots basis, kids, boys and girls are playing basketball. So that's an indication for the league of what kind of impact we can have when we plant an actual flag in a market. So I'm not about to announce that we're putting additional teams overseas, but technology changes, transportation changes, and if we're truly going to be a global league, over time, it's inevitable that we'll expand to other places.
Just a quick question as an aside. Do you foresee expansion in the United States in terms of another NBA team from the States?
I don't foresee it at the moment. I mean, there's a bunch of great markets out there that we're not in right now, and it's something that comes up all the time. I'd say, I've said this before, we're so focused on having 30 competitive teams in this league right now that that's where all our concentration is. But at some point, we'll be looking at it.
Adam Silver, I want to get back to the Toronto Raptors for a quick second because I think about a superstar like Kawhi Leonard, and there is no question. He is a superstar. But he's one of those quiet superstars. I understand how big the NBA is and what have you, but you know what? He's like a miniature Tim Duncan. Very, very little to say. Just goes out there, grabs his lunch pail, goes to work, does a fantastic job, goes home. Do you like to see that in stars? Because, I mean, again, the players promote with their play, but still in all, their mouths do help sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, I love when guys are authentic.
Right.
And just like Tim was authentically himself, so is Kawhi.
Right.
I mean, and when, and I think we all know, we around the league, fans know, when it seems phony, frankly, when a guy comes out and is promoting something that is just frankly not real or and is inauthentic. I think with Kawhi, as you get to know him, that's exactly who he is. And I think that's why he's such an incredibly popular player. That's why they love him in Canada. That's why they love him around the league.
Do these finals miss LeBron James? Because he did go to 8 straight. He's one of the greatest players in the world, universally recognized as that statesman for the game, ambassador for the game of basketball. Do these finals miss him?
I don't think they miss him, but I will say when you have a player at his level who's in the category of one of the greatest ever, who's been in 8 finals in a row, he's an enormous presence in this league. The great thing about LeBron is it's not like he retired. I mean, he's still essentially in his prime. He had an injury last year. It was a new situation, and I'm sure he'll be back incredibly competitive next season. So, I mean, his presence, I mean, we see it. You and I both know a little bit in the ratings. When you have a star as big as LeBron who's sort of absents himself and is no longer playing that there's a casual fan, a sports fan, maybe not an NBA fan, who might tune in for a player like LeBron. But look how strong this league is. Look at the number of young stars we have. And I think we owe to LeBron. I think he carried the league for a period of time. He's brought up a whole next generation of stars. And we see now that this league is bigger than any one player or certainly any team.
Adam Silver, one of the things I wanted to transition to, and I thought it was appropriate to ask you this question because few are better to answer this than you. Draymond Green made news recently because he brought up the word owner and felt like it had a negative connotation attached to it. Owners like Mark Cuban certainly didn't have, they had a problem with that kind of take on the matter. Where do you stand on that? How did you feel about what Draymond Green had to say about having a problem with the word owner?
I, of course, respect his point of view. If that's how he feels and that's how other players feel, I think we have to be responsive. As you know, in our league, it's the difficulty. It's hard not to say the word owner either in the sentence because people say, who are you referring to? What I was about to say is in our league, the formal name for our team owners is the governor. And then we have alternate governors so that we don't technically use the name owner. The problem is it's such a popular term in terms of culture and the media that it will take a while to transition out of that name. But if people are sensitive, if players are sensitive about it, we should be looking for another title for the position. I know that in some team principals call themselves the chairman. We have the word governor. Some are the CEO of the organizations. So, terminology we see in that words come to have different meanings and different connotations. So I don't think we're locked in stone, certainly, to that label for the person who owns the team. But it's even saying the sentence makes it hard to not use that word.
One would ask, how do you do it? Because you definitely are the boss. You're the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. You can bring the hammer down when you need to, but you're incredibly fair-minded. You have a great relationship with the players. And by and large, it's because they say, hey, Adam Silver has an open-door policy. He lets everybody express themselves and speak their mind. In this day and age, in the culture that we're living in, it's not only something that you support, you absolutely encourage it. Why do you do it? How do you do it?
I do it because I think it's the right way to run a business in this day and age. And when I talk to my counterparts who run other successful enterprises, I don't think their policy is all that different. I mean, for employees, whether they're talent, as we might refer to our players, or whether they're just sort of the journeyman workers in an organization. I think in this day and age, you need transparency. You need to respect the people you're working with. You need to listen to them. That's how you can run a great business. And I think we all respect for each other in this league. And let me just add, those people formerly known as the owners, I think they deserve a lot of the credit as well because we have a really progressive group of people in this league. And, Michael Jordan is a governor in this league. And I think, that by Grant Hill now is an alternate governor in this league. By having people like that and Steve Ballmer now joining and Mark Cuban, as you mentioned, I should mention all of them, that have a progressive view about how you run a business, that's what enables me to have that kind of policy. So it's not just talk. So that when we sit down with players, we're able to really have a serious partnership and take into account how the people who drive this league really feel about how it's operated. And we don't agree on everything, and I'm sure Michelle Roberts would tell you that.
Yes,
she's executive director of the Player Association. But we all respect each other. Right. And so when we have disagreements, we try to keep them behind closed door. And we also try to compromise, which is something you don't see a lot of these days.
Wow. Adam Silver, deeply appreciate your time, Commissioner.
Thanks,
you so much for your business schedule. A lot more to come. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more coming up. The show is far from over. Warriors owner Joe Lacob joins us after the break, and I've got some questions about his team that you don't want to miss. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. Special Sports Center edition with yours truly. Back with more in a minute. Game 3 of the NBA Finals from the Oracle tonight on ABC and the ESPN app, with the series tied at 1 game apiece. Teams that win Game 3 of an NBA Finals with the series tied at 1 have gone on to win the title 31 of 38 times. Steve Kerr, head coach for the Golden State Warriors, commenting about Klay Thompson just minutes ago.
It's a game time decision. He's gonna come in here and work with the training staff in a little bit, and we'll decide then. He's making a very strong case. That's who Klay is. He wants to play no matter what. So we'll see. Again, we'll see what the trainer's assessment is. They looked at him this morning, and they'll look at him again this evening. But he's trying desperately to be out on the floor tonight, and we'll have to weigh all the factors and make the decision. We probably won't let him make the decision.
I don't know if I would let him play. Who's that out there? That would be Andrew Bogut warming up on the basketball coach. Played a good game last night, and that's DeMarcus Cousins right next to him. Played a big-time game in Game 2. Expected to be a pivotal component in Game 3. But why listen to me about the Golden State Warriors when I've got one of its owners himself, the one and only Joe Lacob is right next to me. How are you, sir? Finally got you on camera with me. How you doing? How you doing?
Great.
How concerned are you tonight about Klay Thompson?
I'm concerned. It's a game-time decision, as they've said. I mean, I'm not sure he's going to play or not, to be honest with you. The doctors would like to hold him out, certainly.
If he doesn't play, I know how much you believe in your players. I know how much you believe in this team. But if Klay Thompson doesn't play tonight, how worried are you going to be about the outcome?
Well, our team does have a way of pulling these things out and a way of performing under pressure. We still have a lot of talent. We're down a lot, no question, a lot of shooting. So it could be a tough game. And if we lose, we lose. And we just have to come back and win it anyway.
So many people don't realize how much owners know about the game of basketball. I talk to you a lot. I know that you know basketball. So be a coach for me for a second. You don't have Klay Thompson. What do you believe Joe Lacob is going to be the key to your team being victorious tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously we have to find enough scoring. We're down two of the greatest shooters in the world. Two of the greatest shooters in the world. That's a lot of scoring. So Draymond has to have a big game. DeMarcus Cousins has to follow up that game the other day with even a better game. I think that's what's got to happen. And we got to free up Steph to get enough shots.
Have you found yourself scratching your head at all of these injuries that have taken place? I can't blame anybody for it, but it's shocking. You got like 5 guys to be worried about, 2 that are out, and 5 guys to be worried about. And Cousins, Iguodala, obviously Klay Thompson now. How shocked are you by that?
Not shocked. I mean, we've had, to be honest with you, over the last 5 years, not that many injuries. We've had a few. But really, we've been pretty healthy. You've seen how teams like, what was it, one day the Clippers a number of years ago had 2 of their best guys go down in the same game.
Right.
So that stuff can happen at any moment. You have to be prepared for it.
I'm not going to get into you about any particular players. You ain't here to talk about free agency. We talk about the NBA Finals.
Good.
But I'm going to look out for you, Joe. But here's the question for you, though. When you see the kind of things that are transpiring with this team right now, how does that affect your mindset as an owner going into free agency, recognizing the importance of having a total team as opposed to a few superstars in order to deliver the goods?
Look, we have a very deep team, and our guys believe that they can win regardless. They're going to win no matter what. And so, you just don't know what's going to happen. And in free agency, who knows what's going to happen there either. I think we're still going to have a good team regardless of what happens in free agency next year, and we're prepared to do whatever it takes.
To me about what Klay Thompson means to this team overall.
Well, he's one of my absolute favorites. I mean, I just love this guy. He's our first draft choice that we made as an organization, our first pick.
Right.
And he's been spectacular. Number 11, Kawhi was 15 in that draft. Hell of a draft, right? So I think he means a lot. He's a not only great offensive player, but a tremendous defensive player, great size, great attitude, fits with the organization so well. We love him.
Could you speak about what he and Steph together mean to this team in terms of chemistry, in terms of being able to attract people just to want to come? It's not just because of their shooting ability, their makeup, who they are as people. Talk about that for a second.
Well, honestly, those guys fit together so well, Splash Brothers. They're just a great pair. They make up for each other's whatever deficiencies they have. They get along great, and they welcome new guys to the team like Kevin or whoever in the last few years. So that culture that those 2 guys have set has been unbelievable in terms of making this organization successful.
Game 3, Game 4, if necessary, a Game 6. Your last games inside the Oracle. Arguably the best home court spot in the entire league for the last several years. Actually, some would say it's not even to be disputed. What are the emotions like for you knowing this is going to be the last run before you move over to San Francisco?
Well, I've been coming to games here for 25 years, and I've seen a lot of bad times and a lot of, obviously, recently good times. It's a great home court advantage. We've designed the new arena in San Francisco. Frankly, the lower bowl is very, very similar. We tried to keep the ceiling height really low to make it loud. This is a great place, but on the other hand, it's for the oldest arena in the NBA, and our fans deserve better. They deserve a lot of great food choices and other options, and we're trying to give them to that in this new arena.
Now, I'm hearing a lot about this arena. I'm hearing this $1.5 billion. I'm hearing this state of the art. I'm hearing even though it only seats less than 20,000, I mean, it's going to exceed Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. It's something special to behold. Brag about that new arena for me for a second.
Well, I mean, look, we spent 7 years, looked at every arena in the world, and basically you have to understand something. From day one, our mandate was basketball first. That's not the way other buildings are. Concerts, hockey, whatever. No hockey. I mean, hockey can be played there, but that's not the goal. It's designed as a basketball venue to be perfect. It's also designed for concerts as a secondary. It's also in San Francisco, right on the waterfront.
Right.
5.5 acre park right next door. Food options, obviously transportation to the arena is great. And so we think it's going to be a fantastic venue that people are going to grow and love.
I've talked to you. I know how competitive you are. Have you talked to this team about making sure they close out their time at the Oracle the right way?
Well, I think I don't have to say that.
Okay.
It's obvious, right?
But that doesn't mean it would stop you from saying it, though.
I mean, obviously. I don't have to say it, though. Steph Curry, in particular, right, has made it a big point. He's very tied into the Oakland community. We want to do this the right way. We'd like to win and send this arena off in the right way. So that's definitely true.
Are you worried tonight about them keying on Steph to a point where he's so great? He's so great as a shooter. He's so great as a player. My attitude is, you know what? Some big bodies, I'm going to lean on them a little bit extra. I'm going to slap them a little bit harder. I mean, I'm scared for Steph tonight. Am I justified in feeling that way, Joe Lacob?
He's slapped around a lot in games, and I'm not going to say he's been unfairly officiated, but I'm not so sure he gets the calls that some other players do. And the truth is, he's going to have a tough night here. They're going to be keying on him, no doubt about it. But he's tough. He's a lot tougher than people think. And, I know you did your top 5 this morning in the NBA. First Take, I watch First Take every day. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you.
And the truth is, I believe Kevin and Steph are the 2 best players in the world, 1A and 1B.
So you had a problem with me having LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis in between? Steph at 5 and Kevin Durant at 1? Why?
I did. They're great players. But I believe these 2 guys are the best players in the world.
Okay. I can't argue with that. So prediction tonight, sir?
What's that?
Prediction.
No, I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm not going to make a prediction because, let's just say I'm optimistic. No matter what, we seem to figure out a way to win. We're going to do whatever we can. And if we do happen to lose the game because we're shorthanded tonight, guess what? We're going to come back in Game 4, and we're going to come back in Game 5, and we're going to try to still win this thing at Oracle in Game 6.
Last question for you. Do you think we'll see Kevin Durant this series?
I do. Not tonight, but I do.
This series?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Joe Lacob. Appreciate you. Thanks. You heard the owner. I expect to see Kevin Durant before this finals is over. I like that. The court behind us is very busy, everybody. You see my man Mike Wilbon right there. He'll be up next, joining me live from Game 3 of the NBA Finals. It draws closer. Game is coming up soon. Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt on ESPN. He'll have post-game reactions from Oakland. Plus, Doris Burke, Brian Windros, and yours truly with their biggest takeaways, our biggest takeaways. And Tim Legler breaks it all down. Look at Steph Curry on the court, ready to do his thing, the babyface assassin. And what about Klay Thompson? Are we going to see him tonight? Well, not according to Adrian Wojnarowski, at least a little bit.
I'm on the mission.
Klay Thompson gets knocked down, and he is limping heavily.
Clay said he'll be fine, but Clay could be half dead and he'd say, so we'll see.
It'll be a game time decision, but for me personally, it'd be hard to see me not playing.
According to Adrian Wojnarowski, who tweeted earlier, Klay Thompson is lobbying the Warriors to play. But the Warriors haven't made a decision. Steve Kerr announced that it would be a game-time decision. So you see right there, our very own Adrian Wojnarowski, along with Ramona Shelburne, are both reporting that Klay Thompson is lobbying to play. This, we've heard from Steve Kerr, the Golden State Warriors coach. Here's Nick Nurse, coach of the Raptors.
We're at the point of this series where we got to get out and guard these dudes, right? Whoever's out there. We got to get back to playing our defense. Right? Quit worrying so much about special plays, this, that, and the other thing. We need to get into the ball when you're guarding it. Be great at guarding the ball when your man doesn't have it. Help make the rotations. If somebody goes to help the helper. Fly out at shooters and block out. We got to do a better job of that if we want to win.
Joining yours truly right now, here courtside, watching Steph Curry practice, warm up, shoot, get ready to do his thing. It's Stephen A. Smith with yours truly, PTI fame, my NBA partner in crime, the one and only Mike Wilbon. What's going on, big time?
I have no idea. You know how we do this all the
That's
time?
right.
We have what we think is an idea of what's going to happen that night. That thing may be wrong. That idea may be wrong. But you have an idea. I have no idea.
Why not?
Well, because of all the stuff you just said. Don't you think that if they want to shut him down, they should stop consulting with Clay? And Steve Kerr just said, you're done. We're not doing it. We're going to save you, give you 48 extra hours, get you to game 4 on Friday. But if you leave this, if you're truly leaving it up to Klay Thompson, you know what he's going to do, Steven.
Well, they're not leaving it up to him. They're saying he's lobbying. Their recommendation is that he sit down. Right. They're lobbying for him to play. So what you're saying is they should ignore him, not even talk to him. You got the doctor's report. You're sitting down, period.
Yes. Don't. If you're going to put this in Klay's hands, put it in his hands. Don't make him lobby. I mean, he's already said, I want to play. If there's pain, I won't play. Otherwise, I want to. I just don't know. But, I'm done doubting the Warriors. I mean, I was sitting right here in Game 5 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter when Kevin Durant limped off, and I thought...
And that was after they were up 20 and surrendered the lead.
That's right. I thought there's no way. Maybe they'll win Game 5, but they can't win Game 6. We'll be back here for Game 7.
Right.
I'm done doubting them. And I don't know who it is that would have... Look, Draymond and Steph would have to have enormous games, but they got guys, role players, who are accustomed. Look, they wouldn't even have that much pressure on them. You don't have Clay, you don't have Kevin, you're missing 2 starters. You do what you do. Whether you're Iguodala would have the same pressures. But, I mean, there's so many other guys. Quinn Cook, we've seen him play. How much can that role be expanded?
Looney goes down with the collarbone injury. Iguodala hits a big shot. I mean, there's no question. But I have to go to this point.
Okay.
We've made so much noise about the Warriors being hobbled. Kawhi Leonard is clearly not 100% in this series. Are we showing him the proper? Are we showing Kawhi Leonard the proper level of respect in this series, considering the fact that we're pointing out everybody else's injury and not pointing out how he's not 100%?
Well, you and I pointed it out certainly in Toronto and the Milwaukee series, Toronto and Milwaukee. He didn't even know which leg to limp on because both were hurt. Tendonitis in one knee. The other quad is still, repairing after all that time out. So I think we've chronicled that. You know what, Stephen A., I think the respect we're showing is by saying that Kawhi Leonard, of people who are playing in these last 2 rounds of the playoffs, he's the best player in the playoffs with Durant out. Durant had done that, but Kevin hasn't played the last round plus.
Well, just so you know, I just had Joe Lacob, the owner for the Golden State Warriors, standing right in this spot a few minutes ago. And the last question I asked him was, will we see Kevin Durant this series? He said, yes, you will. Not tonight, but yes, you will. What does that do for Mike Wilbon?
I hope we do. I want to see Kevin Durant play. Who loves basketball and doesn't want to see Kevin Durant play? I want to see him play. But I told you coming into the previous series when they kept saying, oh, he might play against the Portland. No, he wasn't. It's a month-plus injury. I've talked to all kinds of former players on the court down here right now. All of them had that injury at some point. You know what they say? 6 weeks. It took me 6 weeks, including our own John Barry. Just talked to JB about it. It'd be great if we see him, but I don't know. You feel certain?
I do.
Get what,
and
game 5?
Let me say this to you.
Game
I
6?
feel certain because I've communicated with some people in the last several hours.
Right. I don't want you to give away any sourcing.
And Kevin, all I'm going to tell you is this. Kevin Durant has hunkered down.
Okay.
And he's gone underground.
Okay.
And they say that when he does that, something is brewing. That's what they say.
Well, good. Well, look, they've already ruled him out of this one, so we don't think anything can be brewing tonight.
Well, it's a game 4 Friday. It's only 48 hours from now.
Then game 4. Okay, but then how long does it take him? We saw Boogie Cousins take one game. He had that 8-minute stint, and then he came back and had 28 or 29 minutes in game 2 and really helped them. Does Kevin need a throwaway game? Does he need a get-ready game? That's like for baseball, it'd be a sign of the minors for one game. How long would KD need?
With all due respect, Mike Wilbon, I think that sounds blasphemous. What do you mean a throwaway game? If Kevin Durant is on the court, the Toronto Raptors can throw away any shot at winning the series. That's the way I look at it.
But that's why the Raptors need tonight's game.
That's right.
I'm not going to say it's a must-win. They need this game. And I understand the theories about Wounded Bear, and the Wounded Bear is a champion.
Right.
And it's going to... I understand Wounded Bears sometimes get killed in the woods too.
That would be correct.
Toronto needs this game tonight to win it. To me, the path to Toronto winning this series is winning game 3.
I believe the Toronto Raptors lose this game, this series is over in 5. If they can't win tonight, they ain't winning any other game. That's what I believe.
Okay.
I believe listen, if without Kevin Durant, I think if Iguodala, Klay Thompson, and Boogie Cousins in the lineup, they win in 6. So if you can't win tonight, why should I believe you can extend it to 6?
Got to win tonight. Here's a question. Who helps Kawhi Leonard tonight on the road?
Well,
even if he has a 40-point, 14 rebound game,
I believe it has to be Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
He can't foul out.
I'm with you.
And he has to hit perimeter shots. But I want to get back to Golden State in this respect, Mike Wilbon. Who's the key? Who's more of a key for you? Is it Boogie Cousins, who's going to be in the lineup going up against Gasol and Ibaka again? Because he did his thing against them in game 2. Or is it Draymond Green, who you know the Toronto Raptors are going to dare to hit a perimeter shot? He's done everything else right. He's my MVP in the first 2 games of the NBA Finals for Golden State.
I agree with you.
But they are going to dare him to shoot perimeter shots. And that's been the one impediment to his game throughout the season. To that you say what?
It's got to be Boogie Cousins. Draymond Green can impact the game in other ways. Defensively, one, he's going to have to. Also rebounding and passing. I mean, being the primary playmaker for them, which frees Steph Curry from some of that obligation, right? So Draymond's going to have to do those things with Steven. Neither one of us doubts that Draymond is going to do those things tonight. He's going to do them. Even if he doesn't hit the shot, he can also drive and take that little floater and get back to the way he played earlier on before there was so much beyond the arc play. I think it's Boogie Cousins. They need him to stay out of foul trouble, right? They don't want to have Bogut play too many minutes. Both of them will have to play. But to me, it's Cousins. He may need a 2010, 2012-point kind of game tonight, especially if Klay Thompson is not there for the Warriors to win game 3.
We see Steph Curry out there warming up right behind us. And here comes Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is coming out right. This is his arrival into the game. He's walking pretty nice, Mike Wilbon. That's not running. There's no limp. He's walking pretty nice. He's got a smile on his face, Mike Wilbon.
I'm going
to read it. Look,
I'm not a body language guy.
Listen. You work with Tony Kornheiser. I mean, who reads body languages more than him? Don't get me started with that. Don't get me started with that. Last question for you. When you look at this Golden State Warriors squad at the Oracle, the fact that they're about to close out, you and I have been here for many games where we've seen them get a bit lackadaisical, turnovers, defensive lapses.
They hear the sweet Georgia
Brown music. But this is it. These last games, these last 2 to 3 games, this is it at the Oracle. How much of a factor do you expect that to be as this series wanes?
Enormous. And I expect for that reason, Stephen A., for them not to be a bunch of turnovers. They know they have to sort of buckle down, if you will. And I don't think there's going to be as many loose possessions as we often see at home, which you refer to. You're absolutely right. So I expect to see the best of what they can put together tonight. And that may be, you think Klay's playing. You looked at Klay just now.
I think so. I'm not sure. I have no inside information, Mike Wilbon, but I'm reading the body language. I'm going Tony Kornheiser on you. I'm looking at the smile on his face, no limp, and the combination of the two, I think Klay is going to be. Who's going to win tonight? Who's going to be the MVP? Real quick on tonight's game.
Golden State, Steph Curry. I'm tempted to go Draymond Green, but I'm going to go Steph. I think this is one of those games like we saw in the Houston series where of who he is.
I'm going Golden State tonight with Draymond Green as the MVP of this game because I believe they're going to key on Steph in every way fathomable and they're going to make somebody else beat him, and Draymond Green is going to be that guy. Remember, he ain't in a contract year, but he's in a year where contract negotiations can be stirred. He wants that consideration. I think he shows up tonight and he shows out.
We both just dismissed Kawhi Leonard. We just waved him off.
No. We're saying if the Warriors, because we believe the Warriors are going to win. We don't believe anybody's going to step up to help Kawhi Leonard. That's where we're going. Mike Wilbon, appreciate you, baby. Thank you so much. Got to get on out of here. That's it for us here at Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We'll be back here for Game 4 of the NBA Finals Friday night. Mike Wilbon, it's brave of you. It's brave of you to pick the Warriors.
It is?
It's brave of me to pick the Warriors. You do understand that there are people out there that would say, outside of Oakland, that would say we're all alone.
We might be all alone. I can live with that.
You can live with that?
I can live with that.
So can I. Look at Steph Curry. Look at that. See, I'm watching. Let me look at the body language again. Look at the shot right here. Look at the shot right here. Watch the stroke, the follow through, the ease with which he does it. And again, you turn around and you see some of the other Raptors. Marc Gasol out here practicing. All them jumpers they miss. You would think somebody out here would be out here other than Marc Gasol. That's another reason to pick the Warriors. So I'm about to get on out of here. We'll be back Friday for Game 4 right here. Stay tuned.